Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti. So the final section, the final topic of the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is verses 38 to 42. So the last 5 verses of this chapter, Krishna summarizes his advice during the entire chapter which was given out on how to gain the wisdom. So in the 37th verse, he said, just as fire burns fuel to ash, this fire of knowledge burns all your vasanas, your desires into ashes, right? So when you understand there's something better, obviously that value for the lower will go away. So I've repeatedly told you because it's so grossly misunderstood. People believe renunciation means you have to give up something. Nobody can give up anything. But when you understand that there's something higher, better, superior, you lose the value for the inferior, right? Common sense. See, it's like you understand what is eyesight. Unfortunately, you were blind before. You had an operation and restored your eyesight. Now you know what is to see. Will you ever say, I have renounced blindness? It's like that. It doesn't even occur to you because you've understood a state which is so much superior. So, this is the principle of Vedanta, of any spiritual growth. Only when you understand what the self is, what are these higher values of living, obviously you will lose the value for the lower, even if you are with them for whatever reason. Like a parent plays games with their children. They have no value for the game, but they're doing it as an obligation. So your life in the world will be like that. You have no value for it. You're just doing it because it ought to be done. Imagine that kind of life. So now we have no knowledge. So you're totally attached to these toys which make your joys. So there's no point saying anything, doing anything. Either you gain the knowledge or you stay where you are. That's all. So that's what he says in the 38th verse, which we completed last week. Verily, there is no purifier here like knowledge. So nothing can purify you like knowledge can. Nothing else can do it. There's only one principle, like I've just explained. He who is perfected in yoga means you have to perfect yourself in the 3 yogas. Gaining the knowledge, of course, is the main driving factor. But you can't neglect. That's what he's saying here. It's not just knowledge. You have to do the whole spiritual exercise, which is devotion and selfless action. All three have to be perfected, and you will find the real knowledge of the self in time. It's a question of how much effort you put in and where you begin. How many vasanas you are starting with, how much desire and attachment you start with. It's just a question of time. So he puts it very diplomatically. Kalena. So suppose you ask, when will I grow spiritually? When will I gain enlightenment? In time. Now, short time or long time depends upon how much effort you put in. So just get on to your effort. That's what you must learn from this. You have to gain the knowledge and continue the two other yogas of devotion and action. And get on to it. No delay. Nothing should hold you back. So, this in time, what is the other implication of that?
You will definitely get it.
You will definitely get it. Yes, cause and effect. You're putting in the cause, the effect will come. What's the other implication? In time.
Depends on your effort.
Depends on your effort. Yes, I said that. So, what's the implication? It can happen in this lifetime. I wish. No, it can, of course. Deepika.
You have to be consistent with the effort.
You have to be consistent, yes. What's the implication? In time. Sandeepa?
It'll take a long time.
Why you simply saying something which he's not? He's saying in time. Now why are you qualifying it? Short time, long time is not the implication.
Depends on where you start.
Depends where you start. That is the meaning of in time. Brinda.
It really, it all based on your effort you put in. So in time is really a Naroha Kunjava answer, right? Because you don't know how long it will take for each individual. It all depends on their individual efforts that are put in to get to the higher
meaning
state.
Of in time.
Right. And when they get to that state, everything will just become a chore. You do everything, but you're not attached to anything you do. You just do it because it ought to be done.
No, that's how you get there. I am talking about what's the implication of the word in time.
There is no easy shortcut.
There is no easy way out. Yes, Shalini?
Hari Om Gautamji. I think we should focus on gaining the knowledge.
Focus on gaining the knowledge is correct. Focus on doing the yogas is correct. The point is there should be no thought of when you're getting there, whether you're growing or not. So, having understood what the cause is the three yogas: action, devotion, knowledge. Your whole focus should be on the performance of the action, not what is coming out of the action. So everybody spoils the spiritual, in fact, not just spiritual, every action of yours, we spoil by this anxiety for the fruit. When will it happen? What if it doesn't happen? See, you've understood how life functions. It's cause and effect. It's like you want to do well in an exam. You've understood the only way is to study hard. Now get on to studying. Why do you think about how you're going to perform? It's as simple as that. So he's saying you have to gain the knowledge. You have to do the three yogas. It will come when it has to come. cause and effect. What we were studying yesterday, right? Causation. Everything functions on cause and effect. So get on to planting the cause. Don't go on worrying about the effect in anything, spiritual or material. The principle is the same. He who is perfected in yoga finds it in the self in time. So focus should be on perfecting the yoga, perfecting the spiritual practice. So your focus should be more, am I doing what I ought to do? Am I getting up in the morning as I should? Am I studying? Am I serving? Where am I being selfish? Where is that feeling of I and my coming? Nobody does all this. Simply, you want to get somewhere. You got to put in the effort. Kalena, in time. So there is a story in the Puranas. So Narada is considered a very mischievous rishi, sage, He's got all stories about him fooling around and lightheartedness, basically. But it all has a message. So he went down and saw these two sages, one after the other. The first sage, he said, I have some very good news for you. I'm just coming from heaven. It's a story. He said, yeah, really? What is it? I just heard that you are going to get enlightenment in this lifetime. That fellow said, this lifetime? I never thought I'm going to get it. I have so much enjoyment to do in the world. I nothing, I'm going. The guy got. And then he went to the next sage. And he said, I have some very bad news for you. So that fellow said, what is the news? What happened? He said, you see those leaves on that, you see that tamarind tree there? Tamarind tree, there's small leaves. So each tree must be having tens of thousands of leaves. So it's so small. Big tree. He says, yes, I heard that those many lives it will take for you to get enlightenment. So that sage said, why is this disappointing news? This is the best news. So Narada said, what do you mean it's good news? Do you know what I just told you? He said, yeah, I heard you. But I thought it's going to be infinite amount of lives. At least you brought it down to a finite number. Now I'm going to put in even more effort. And the truth was just the opposite. This sage was this life. He was on the brink. That other fellow is a name sage. Name is sage. But work is totally different. Not interested. So Narada actually doing him a favor. Go back and don't waste everybody's time here. You're interested in the world, go find the world. And he knew this person, whatever he says, he will not budge. In fact, it will only be stronger. So these stories are meant to convey this. No true seeker is bothered. Because all you have in your hand is the present moment. So if you're doing whatever you can in the present, to that extent the future will be assured. So what is your problem? Kalena. In time. So forget about it. That's the implication. It's like you want to lose weight. You have to consume more energy than you put into your body, right? Simple mathematics. You expend 2000 calories, you ingest 1500, you will lose weight. 500, where else will it go? Cause effect. So your focus should be on that. Not eating one tub of ice cream and dreaming, when will I lose weight? How is that going to happen? Just like that. So spiritual growth is as scientific as cause and effect. There's no grace coming to somebody and not to others. There's nothing. You put in the effort, you plant the cause, effect is guaranteed. So you must understand this. That's why I'm repeating the message. You don't want to put in the effort. You don't put in the right effort. You're not consistent. And then you want to get something for nothing. Nothing will happen. Clear?
Gautamji, I have a couple of questions. Verse 32.
Verse 32. Okay.
So the second sentence says, know them all to be born of action, thus knowing you shall be liberated. When you are explaining this, you mentioned that the sacrificial actions liberate you. So here, when he says born of action, does he imply the right choice of action?
See what he's saying in 32, he's just completed the section on the yajna, sacrifice, right? It is through sacrificial action that you gain the self. So he's summarizing that message. There are various types of sacrifices you can perform, right? He's given that. It could be perception, emotion, action. Know them all to be born of action. So, in other words, you have to put in that effort. You understand? You have to put in the effort to sacrifice. You have to act in that way. Thus, knowing you will be liberated. So, out of all the actions, you have to know which actions to choose and act upon it. That leads to liberation. That's all he said.
So action here implies choice.
Choice.
Right choice.
Choice. That's the implication. So you got to read between the lines. Can't be any action, right? It is the choice of the right action which makes you evolve. Because by default, what are we all doing?
Whatever we like.
Wrong action. That's what it means. See, what does every human being do? The mind probes the world to find instant satisfaction for itself. This is the default state. You must understand what is our default state from the time you're born. Even a baby at a very young age, it learns orange juice tastes better than milk and it'll want that, right? So the probe is, what can I get? That is the default state. So only when you understand there's a higher way of living, you have to choose that. Got it? That's it.
And the other is from verse 35. So the second line, when he says, O Pandava, by which you will see all beings in the self, also in me. I mean, you explained that you'll understand the whole world of things and beings you are seeing is nothing but the self. So why did he say again also in me? I mean, of course, me here refers to self. So you are seeing all beings in the self and also in the self. Why is he duplicating there?
He's saying you see all beings in the self, in the Atman, also in me. So he's educating Arjuna that he is someone who has understood the self as opposed to Arjuna. See, you must understand he's still early in the Gita. Arjuna has just about accepted him as a source of knowledge. It is only in the 11th chapter that he is fully convinced. Right? You have to understand the background of this conversation. So he says, look, you have not understood all beings are nothing but the self. I have understood. I have become one with it. So subtly he puts it in to convey his qualification as a realized master. So the disciple needs that confidence that what he's saying is the truth. So he's giving him that. Shrikar.
Hari Om, Gautam ji. Gautam ji, in the commentary on verse 37, Swamiji mentions how knowledge and ignorance seem to coexist in one entity. How are knowledge and ignorance different then from the usual pairs of opposites we see in the world?
Knowledge and ignorance in the sense you are the self, right? Which is knowledge. And you are also ignorant of the self at the same time. It's one entity.
Okay.
See, what is the dreamer? The dreamer is the waker, which is knowledge. Now imagining himself to be the dreamer, which is ignorance.
Okay.
So knowledge and ignorance are in us.
Okay.
That is what he means. In fact, that's the significance of the churning the wood to generate fire, right?
Right.
How they used to generate fire for the yajna ritual is by churning two pieces of wood.
Right.
Arani, it's called the two pieces.
Right.
Right. So one represents knowledge, the self. One represents the ignorance, matter. And you assert that you are the self, you negate the matter. And that is knowledge, which burns both the pieces of wood. You understand? So it's all deeply significant.
Okay.
But this is the explanation, since you're asking. That is the depiction. This is the explanation. You are both the spirit and matter. Right now you're a combination of spirit and matter, right? Knowledge and ignorance.
Right.
So the goal of life is to remove the material, base, ignorant part of you. And then the real spiritual knowledge part remains. That is enlightenment.
Thank you, Gautamji.
39.
Shraddha Vallabhate Jnanam Tatpara Samyatendriyaha Jnanam Labdva Param Shantim Achirenadhigacchati.
He who has Shraddha, translated as faith, who is devoted, who has subdued the senses, attains knowledge. Having attained knowledge, he ere long, see, next verse he's saying, before long. Last verse he said, in time, gains supreme peace. Because Arjuna is obviously wondering, like most of you were, what do you mean in time? How long is it going to take? So he says, if you put in the right kind of effort, it's not long, ere long. Achirena. So what is the effort which is required? The effort starts with the senses. See, the senses are the grossest physical part of your personality. So it's easiest to deal with them first. Emotions and thoughts and ideas are internal, subtle, more difficult. So what have we been doing all our lives? See, every morning it happens. You're sleeping. And as soon as you wake up, all five senses are available. right? You can see, you can hear, you can taste, smell, touch. And this world has innumerable sense objects for your senses. So there is a push from your senses and there is a pull from the world. So where is the chance? And everything you see is meant for you to cruise. There will be an ad, the fellow in the sea, and then there this, and then a burger, or looks like I don't know what, how beautiful it looks, and so everything is meant for that. So Vedanta is not against sense enjoyment. Senses are meant to enjoy the world, but you lose control over the senses and lose sight of your mission and purpose of life. That is the problem. You're victimized by your senses. It's like you can have a drink, you can enjoy alcohol, but if you become victimized by it, you become an alcoholic. It's like that. You can enjoy junk food once in a while, but you become a victim of junk. Then your body gets destroyed from the inside. So everybody in the senses also there is a victimization. So those aspects and the problem is, what are you getting victimized for? Is that instant pleasure? Even that goes. Do you realize that? The world functions on diminishing returns. So the more you contact the world, the less the pleasure. So in fact, if you want to keep the pleasure going, you have to learn to control. That's why nature also makes it like that, right? Mangoes you get only 3 months. So by the time in 15 days, fellows who can afford mangoes are gone, completely neutralized. Go all out. So it's like that. What was the pleasure you had in your first drink of alcohol? You were hiding behind, so stealing from your dad's cupboard, or I don't know when. You're completely knocked out. Half a sip. Then you needed one glass to get that same pleasure. After a while, you needed 2 glasses to get the same pleasure you got out of that one glass. Now, what nobody understands means you've lost the pleasure 50%. After a while, you need 4. You've lost 75% of the pleasure. And a time comes, you get 0 pleasure. But you have to continue drinking because without it, you feel miserable. So you need it just to be normal. This is called neutralization. So right now you are neutralized by the time you hit middle age, or much before that also. The more wealth there is, the earlier it is. That's all. It's a curse. So nothing gives pleasure. And then you need drugs, artificial stimulation, because nothing normal gives pleasure. Total neutralization. What a tragedy. So I know one family where so much wealth and the parent gave the child Ferrari, a gift like that for his 18th birthday. He didn't even look at it. It's a boring. So I'll look at it tomorrow. People have committed suicide, early age, extremely wealthy, because total neutralization. So not only do you get victimized, you lose the pleasure. So it's a disaster, the sensual addiction. So what you need to do, even if you want to maintain the sensual enjoyment, you have to regulate your contact. So with Vedanta, not only do you enjoy the senses, but you regulate your contact with the world. So you keep that enjoyment right through. And you also gain a higher bliss of spiritual growth. So you're right on top of the world. You don't need much from the world. You enjoy whatever contact you do, and you move towards higher and higher levels of happiness. What else do you want? Whereas you see the whole world, you must have the eyes to see. Totally neutralized. There's no pleasure. And they need more and more to try and derive less and less pleasure. It is like you have a 100-foot yacht. How much more pleasure is 150-foot yacht? What is the difference? That room is little bigger. Because I've seen both. And then the price difference is another 10-15 million. More than that. One fellow, I was in his yacht a few years ago. He's disgusted. He says, it cost me $1 million to keep this, just to maintain it. The staff of 4, constantly he has to pay. And then the cleaning charge and docking charge. I got depressed listening to his depression. But without it, he's miserable. So he needs it just to be miserable. So without it, he's more miserable. So what will my friend say? So all his friends come, enjoy. I also came, lecture to all his friends who didn't understand anything. And we all went our separate ways. Now he's still stuck with the bill. So, now you may be asking, what were you doing there? I was lecturing. I don't go for anything else. Vedanta is good. Even I should learn Vedanta. I get to go to. They call because they want a way out of their boredom. Literally, I'm telling you. These fellows. But they don't want to put in the effort. They want, I'll come there and suddenly I'll close the eyes, they'll close the eyes, suddenly they'll be some bliss they'll get because so much agitation. They just want some peace. See, one of these pop stars who died, his nurse said, if you can give him a one night's sleep, he'll give you $1 million. Trust me, if you can promise him a night's sleep. So sad. Having everything, you can't sleep. This is why. Because you have the wealth and you get so fed up. Overindulgence, nothing else. So you find so many of these overdosing and rehabbing, addiction. It's very sad. They don't even know the reason. You all are saved because you don't have the means to get neutralized. That's all. I'm not joking. At least there's something to look forward to, right? You got 3-bedroom house, at least you look forward, maybe I'll get a 6-bedroom one. So life goes like that. Something might happen for you. You're in the hope. They're hopeless. They've seen everything, there's nothing. So the only way out is the self. As you grow towards the self, you get more and more happiness till you hit infinite. No, there's no other way.
Gautamji, but in this
You put all the anticipation and then come back fed up. I went there, we were looking forward to vacation and come back fed up, I'm never going there again. Takes 3 days to get neutralized, right? What do you do the rest of the 10 days torture? Everything is like that. Even your relationships. Too much closeness, overindulgence. Sick and tired of each other. Look forward. Best relationships is where the husband traveling. Wife doesn't see. Fabulous. They maintain very well. Because of sheer circumstance, not through out of knowledge. So all, even relationships, you must give the person their space, not sit on their head. It works very well. Could be spouse, children, anything. See, separate towns, separate homes, both fabulous relationships. Ones who are furthest away, no problem. One has chosen separate towns, they live. It's all pretext, job. Could have got a job in the same town. Chose. Now choosing even further away. 2 hour drive is not enough. Make it a flight. Fabulous, it'll be even better. What, Shreyas? You've been having a hand up for so long. What do you want?
Hariom Gautamji. I have a curiosity question around human behavior and ability to get on this journey on Vedanta knowledge. Because you stated, more you contact with the world, less pleasure. And you gave all these examples about how,
Yeah. You don't have to repeat them. What's your question?
Introverts versus extroverts. Again, do you think introverts seek time on their own to re-energize, while extroverts spend more time talking to people and externally? Do you think it's easier for an introvert in general to absorb and get going on this knowledge more than extroverts?
It has nothing to do with... See, you're using the word introvert, extrovert, how normal people use it, right? Extrovert is a person who's more outgoing. Introvert, person who likes to be with themselves. That has nothing to do with how we use the word. So in Vedanta, introvert means a person who is seeking the self, who's seeking the spiritual, who's on the spiritual path towards enlightenment. Extrovert means a person who's pursuing the world. So even a person who you call introvert, reading novels, you understand, by themselves, or they're doing research and all, they are all extrovert as far as Vedanta is concerned. They're still pursuing the world for their peace and happiness. So first understand that. Now, to get on to the spiritual path, it has nothing to do with introvert or extrovert. It is to do with your understanding that there has to be more to life than just pursuing the world. This cannot be it. This is too limited, futile and temporary. Once that understanding comes, that's what makes you truly introvert. Then you start pursuing what is beyond the world, which is the self. You understand? So specifically, so there are people who've been very extrovert. Valmiki was a highway dacoit, a robber. And he became the great sage. He understood, what am I doing? And there were people who were goody men and women who didn't do any harm to others, but fully unspiritual, only concerned about themselves and their families. Nothing spiritual about them, right? Even people doing all the rituals, going to pilgrimages, whole thing is about take care of me and my family. Nothing spiritual about it. So spirituality is defined by that perception. There has to be more to life than all this. It's called mumukshatva in Sanskrit, the desire for liberation. You must have that. Less or more is not the point. You must have that to begin this path. If you don't have it, you're wasting your time. In the spiritual path, you might as well pursue the world. That's what Narada was trying to tell that first sage. You understand? Don't waste your time. Go and pursue the world. It's not worth it. I was telling somebody in another context, at the end of every Upanishad, almost every Upanishad, by rule, they will say, do not teach this to one who is not deserving of it, who is not worthy, who has not taken the vows. However way they put it, it means a person who doesn't have this desire for liberation. Do not teach this now, because it's a waste. Like Christ said, you're casting pearls before swine. What is a beautiful pearl to a pig? They just smell it and go away. So don't cast pearls before swine. Chitra.
Gautamji, can you hear me?
Yes.
Gautamji, on the point of neutralization, the word neutralization, interestingly, this is the second time I'm hearing it in a week. And the first time I heard it was when a well-wisher said I was neutralized. So I'm hoping you can explain this a little bit. When a person has lost interest, little to no interest in getting together with people and listening about vacations and the usual, or how you're celebrating your festivals, what's going on. Is that, the word neutralization was used in that context.
You don't worry about how the word was used. That is not what we mean. Neutralization is because of overindulgence, you lose the pleasure. But without it, you feel miserable. See, to make it even easier, take your eyes. Just because you're seeing the world, there's no pleasure. Because we are neutralized to our eyes. We have them all the time. But suppose we were denied eyesight, we will be miserable. You'll do anything to get your eyes back. With it, there's no pleasure because you're used to it. It's there all the time. Without it, you're miserable. That is neutralization. You've got neutralized to it. You had a fracture. A small little wrist bone got fractured. Right? You ever thought what a wrist bone is? A small little bone got cracked and is in a cast for 6 weeks. And you can't use one hand. And your whole life goes upside down. You can't change. You can't do anything. But when you had your hands, were you dancing or what? But now when the doctor takes off the cast, you'll be dancing. Oh my God, I've got my hand. So we're neutralized. We don't realize. These things we can't help because these are physical organs which we have to use all the time. But the absurdity is to get objects from the world and get neutralized. So that is neutralization. Now what you are asking is different. When you are in a social group and you say, what nonsense I'm talking all the time, same thing, where you went on vacation, where you got your dress, which handbag you bought from where, how much it cost. What nonsense have I been talking all my life? That is not neutralization. That is understanding that there is something higher. So you want to get away from the low.
So Gautamji, a little difference here. It's not that we might be talking. It's about some social interactions that we have to put up with and hear other people talking. Is the solution to that we have become so quote unquote neutralized that we must disconnect from all these social interactions?
It's not neutralized. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They are talking with so much interest. Why do you have a disinterest? There are two possibilities. One is every day you're doing it. It's like drinking every day, you're sick and tired. That is one possibility. Other is you understand the futility, which is not neutralization. Take your pick. Where you fall in. Mahesh.
Hari Om Gautamji. You covered several examples of people getting caught up in the materialistic world. And also in the introduction class that you have, you talked, very first one, you talked about the different types of devotees, and the most, that is the highest level is the one of the jnani. My question is, in the world that we live in, even if we have the knowledge and the understanding that the pursuit of the spiritual path is about realizing the self, there are these day-to-day things where you do want this instance of worry to go away. So I guess my question is, are these mutually exclusive, meaning seeking immediate relief for certain things? I'm in trouble, I need help, and pursuing the path to realize the self. Are these mutually exclusive, meaning can you not have a little bit of this and a little bit of that?
See, there are two things here. I told you, pursuing the spiritual path is about understanding the futility of the world. That it is temporary. It can never give you the satisfaction you seek, and seeking the real self, right? This is spirituality. Finished. Now, other part of it is, I am troubled by something in the world. You deal with that. You can pursue the self, but deal with this also. Nothing wrong with that. But at least deal with it correctly. By going and praying that something should go, it's not going to go. You got a disease, by going and praying, let the disease go, it's not going to go. Cause and effect. Go to a doctor and get it cured. Your question is like asking, I'm pursuing the spiritual path, but I've got a disease. What do you want me to do? I would say, go cure it. If you are agitated with a physical ailment, how can you pursue the spiritual path? But cure it, how it should be cured. No? So they're two separate things. You understand? Now people go to the spiritual path in the hope that this will be cured. Nothing's going to happen. Cause effect. Spiritual path will cure it in the sense you will lose the value for it. So you're not affected by it. You will be cured permanently. That's for sure. But if you're going just for that immediate relief, you're not being spiritual. Because when that thing is cured, you'll be back to the world. My daughter should get married. Nobody is marrying her. My daughter will get married. I'm praying, going to the spiritual path. Once she's married, where is the spiritual path? Then you may go to the spiritual path to pray for her mother-in-law's death because her mother-in-law is troubling her too much. There's no end to that also. This is a... You see what I'm saying? It's a mad thing. So understand what you are here for is to elevate yourself as a human being. Otherwise, there's no spirituality. It's all materiality. But that doesn't mean you should not take care of your finances or your health or your relationships. In fact, with Vedanta, you'll know how to take care of them. So the whole thing starts with the control over the senses. That's what we were all. I'm just getting back to the subject matter at hand. Where do you start? Is where you're finding your senses are controlling you. So that basic effort has to be put in. I told you, see, for example, you have to get up early in the morning. 5 o'clock should be your goal, at least. And 1 hour you got to study Vedanta. But your senses will impede you. How in the night you want to watch that extra hour of TV? It's sensual enjoyment. Or in the morning, that body the eyes don't want to get up. Sleeping is a physical pleasure, to sleep. A lot of people suffer from that disease, that sloth. So you cannot afford to get victimized by it because it impedes your spiritual growth. So you got to start there. What is impeding? No harm in enjoying the senses, but not to the extent they impede your growth. That's the red line in life. So he who has subdued the senses, that's the physical level. See, throughout the Gita he talks about that, and today you hear nobody gives any guidance on this. You must pray, you must do this, you must do that. But anybody is telling you not to be selfish, not to indulge, not to... There's no talk about that. Without that, how can you grow? Who has devotion? Again, so it's not just sense control. There should be devotion. Devotion is that awareness that there is a supreme power beyond all this, and understanding your insignificance in relation to that power. Now there is no awareness of that power, and it is you who are all important. Fat ego. That this world is meant to cater to me. My husband should behave as I want them. My children should behave as I want them. Government should behave as I want. I. What devotion? Just here playing a part. There is a divinity that sustains this whole thing. That feeling of insignificance is devotion and humility. And with the intellect, Shraddha. Shraddha means consistency of purpose. Shraddha is very loosely translated as faith. Faith is nothing, it's just the beginning. You have faith on the self, but you don't stop till you become one with the self. That is Shraddha. Shraddha is that feeling, intensity, consistency, action, everything put together is Shraddha. It's a beautiful word which has no translation in English, literally. There are Sanskrit words which cannot be translated. Shraddha is one of them. Titiksha is another. You know Titiksha? Titiksha is the capacity to bear discomfort with pleasure for somebody else. It's not known. Where can be translated? Titiksha. So Shraddha is like that, right? So it's the essence of spirituality. It's not just faith. What are you doing to become one with that object of faith? So he who has Shraddha, who has devoted, who has subdued the senses, attains this knowledge, gains this knowledge of the self, and having attained knowledge, he gains Param Shantim, that supreme bliss, that supreme peace. So all of us unconsciously seek happiness, supreme happiness, infinite bliss, and that is only in the self. So only when you get the self, you have that finality, that completeness. Nobody else in this world enjoys that except their enlightened soul, state of completeness. The Upanishads, he says, Asya Anandasya Sarvani Bhutani Matra Upajivanti. He says you add all the happiness being enjoyed by all the beings in this world. It is a matra. it is a small portion of that bliss of the self. So what are we talking about? It's inconceivable. But that's what you are. And you won't stop till you get there. So why are you wasting your time? This world can only give you sorrow, nothing else. Yes, iPhone.
Gautamji, very, the similar follow-up question on what you are saying. So question is that, let's say if somebody is doing some business or family matter and he's really stuck into that, his feet are all drenched in that, and he is not able to find the way out. And at the same time, he wants to get out of that and get back to self and all that. So his karma is not letting him. So he has to perform those karmas to get out of that situation, whether it can be a health situation, and it's inflicted upon him. It's not that he was. Let's say if you are going on a road and you are hit by a car and there is an accident there, right? And now you are in the bed and you are trying to recover from that. And same way it can happen to business, family, relationships, or whatever. The question is that when you are in the deep mud right now and you are trying to get out of it, what is the best way to get out of it?
The best way, like I have explained repeatedly, what you're saying is everybody's situation. You're not alone. You understand? So he says, I got hit by a car, now I'm on the bed. I'm giving an example. It's like the same thing happened in my relationship. Now he's equating his marriage to that. He suddenly got hit by a car. He didn't know what happened. And suddenly, he's laughing now. So he didn't know what happened suddenly. And he's been in ICU for the last 20 years. So, and then he ended up with 2 other beds, 2 kids in the side of the room. Now he's so immersed. So nothing to laugh about. It's a crying matter, my friend. I'm crying for you. But this is everybody's condition. First of all, it is a self-imposed. Don't blame anybody else. You did not know how to live life and you got so caught up. This is called samsara, right? Worldly entanglement. But you must be happy that you at least understand that there is something beyond this, which is why you're here and learning. So you don't have to leave anything, like you're saying. So every morning, get up and study Vedanta an hour every morning. You have the Vedanta treatise book, which I teach on Saturdays. You're a beginner, I would start with that. Start with chapter 1 of that book on your own every morning. And as you gain the knowledge, and of course you're attending the talks, you're asking your questions. As you gain more and more knowledge, you'll know how to handle the world. So you'll know how to handle your business, your family. First of all, leave them alone. Business, get on to solving the problems. And you'll have, the more peaceful you become, the more you'll be able to handle it. So get on to that. You don't have to leave anything for now. But at least some part of the day you have to dedicate to your spiritual growth. And that's how slowly you extricate yourself. So don't worry, you won't have to leave anything. That's what people get terrified.
So the last question is that when let's say when we are in real struggle and we are in real stress, and we want to go on a path of devotion or bhakti, and so at that point, so when we pray, what do we pray to? We pray to self. We pray to the.
See, that's what you are. I am trying to tell you. It's not going to help you. Devotion comes with knowledge. The more you understand the higher, the more your emotions will flow towards it. See, if you're in a slum, the more the person understands that education will get him out of the slum, the more devoted he will be to that cause of education. It's like that. The mind should follow the intellect. You understand? So just praying that I should be peaceful, it will not happen. So work on the actual problem at hand. That's what I was explaining to somebody else also. And keep gaining the knowledge. So it looks overwhelming, but it will be done slowly, slowly. There's no other way. Got it? So any more questions, you can ask them. We'll take it on Wednesday. And you all know, next Sunday evening onwards, Sunanda ji, we host her online every year for a chapter of the Gita. She's Swamiji's daughter, disciple. Those of you who are new who may not know, chapter 10, verse by verse, right? So if you've not registered, do that. And if you have, you can forward it to others, because she gives a good introduction at the beginning of every series. Okay? So, but classes in the morning will go on as usual. The Saturday, Sunday, next weekend. This will be on Sunday evening. So we'll see you on Wednesday for the Q&A. Hari Om.